Fantasy football, astrology, brotherhood. Unite, baby. Here we are. It's Saturday. I'm shooting this film. I'm going to do something a little bit unique that I haven't done before. It's a preview, right? An astrological forecast preview. And so I'm going to pull up the charts for you right now so we can see exactly what is in the charts. And let's see what's different from last week. Okay, so here are the charts. And as you notice, looking at, not a lot has changed, okay? Libra has entered into the sun sign of Libra. We always like to encourage people who are in their sun sign have more power, right? That's when they're at their strongest. That's a theory in astrology, is that when it is your birth time, your birth month, your birthday, you're at your strongest time. The moon is in Virgo, and Mercury has actually moved out of Libra and back into Virgo, right? That's what that R means, is Mercury's been moving retrograde backwards against the sun, and now it has entered into the constellation of Virgo. So that'll be interesting to see if Virgo starts having more of a positive effect. I do believe that Libras were having a pretty good season so far as a whole, and so I'm curious to see if now Virgos are going to get a boost. But really, guys, the main thing, you got Mars and Gemini, right? Amari Coopers of the world have been doing pretty good. I think David Montgomery has been doing better than expected. Maybe Mars is a positive influence on that sun sign. Okay, you got Mars and Gemini there. And the main thing that I see is when you look at the aspects and you see how these planets are relating to these signs, the main thing, once again, guys, as we see Saturn squaring Uranus, Saturn squaring Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus. So we know Saturn is squaring Taurus. And anytime you get a squaring aspect, it typically means very challenging things. Saturn already brings a lot of consternation. So I saw this last week. I pointed this out last week. And now I want to bring this into kind of a full view picture of what's going on. Here on my board, what to look out for in astrology in week 3, Saturn squaring Taurus. Guys, this has actually been going on, and it's going to be going on all year. Okay, so if we look at all these guys, these are all the fantasy relevant players that I could find that are in the sun sign of Taurus. Okay, Elijah Mitchell's already out. Keenan Allen's already been out. Robbie Anderson had a bad week last week. Christian Watson's been out. Miles Sanders, he's got an injury history, right? James Conner's been out. Jerick McKinnon has an injury history. Jerry Jeudy's been out. Austin Eckler has an injury history. Khalil Herbert and Michael Carter might be the only two guys who are got a pretty clean slate, according to my own knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So what we can do here is, first of all, I've always kind of had a background theory running that Earth signs are more susceptible to injury because they have a boundary oriented way of processing the world. Okay, they demand respect and they need their boundaries, and the NFL game is one of the least good environments for that, right? You have to kind of do whatever they tell you, and so the independence of the Earth signs automatically say, yeah, well, you can take it where the sun doesn't shine, because I need my boundaries. I need my, whatever it is that the Earth sign believes they need, respect or whatever. If they believe they're not getting it, it's going to be a problem. And so I've always kind of believed that even on an unconscious level, the Earth signs are more susceptible towards injury. So this Saturn squaring Taurus has been happening, or Uranus has been happening at least for a few years now. And I'm wondering, is that been affecting these guys? So I'm just going to go through each of these players individually, and perhaps we can manage our leagues based on this positioning, because there's always opportunity, right? If there's crisis, there's always opportunity. Elijah Mitchell, we already know he's been out. Jeff Wilson, I told you in the beginning of the year to pick him up. And furthermore, guys, Marlon Mack is probably available in your league. It looks like Marlon Mack's going to be the real guy over our other buddy there, Jordan Mason. So just trying to read the tea leaves there, not much astrology based in it, but anytime a team is going to bring on somebody to their unit and move them up off the practice squad, it's kind of been boding because they don't really fully believe in that Jordan Mason character and what have you. So I've got Marlon Mack on my team. I know he's kind of a funny, a trendy guy, Marlon Mack. What does this mean for Marlon Mack? Well, pick him up. I don't expect any issues with Jeff Wilson, but they run the ball a lot. So I'm on that. Okay, with Keenan Allen as a Taurus. Once again, Mike Williams also, his astrology should be better with Justin Herbert than Keenan Allen's is, according to my simplistic rule that I've taught you guys in my last video. Okay, so Keenan Allen, do we fade him? Do we trade him before this injury might become this lingering thing with Saturn squaring Taurus? That's a very curious concept, okay? Robbie Anderson, another guy I've talked about in the past. Before I knew about this transition, I was really high in his astrology with Baker Mayfield and his week 1 performance. But with this Saturn squaring Taurus, maybe Robbie Anderson is a guy that once he has a big, hopefully explosive week, we can get off of him, okay? DJ Moore also probably has a much more clearly higher talent profile, so we have to really consider that. Christian Watson's already been out. Romeo Doubs is looking like with Aries and Jupiter right now. He's looking like he's being kind of thrust into the spotlight in this situation. He also has really good astrology with Aaron Rodgers. Romeo Doubs does. So really, he's a good ad this week. You never know. Maybe he can break off a big one, even against that tough Tampa Bay defense. You know, Aaron Rodgers doesn't miss that much. So Romeo Doubs is a pretty interesting waiver ad this week. Miles Sanders. I've spoken on Miles Sanders in the past as being a bit of a tentative runner, but I just want to say, I want to clear the air on that because I've watched him and he's looked really good. He's looked really healthy. He's looked really aggressive in his running again. Maybe he's gotten healthy suddenly this year and because he looks really good. So once again, a pretty interesting trade high candidate with all those carries he's been getting and goal line carries, but also I'm curious if this trend will continue. But Saturn squaring a Taurus is something that we don't like to see. And so we might be considering moving off of and selling high on Miles Sanders where we can. Also, consider Kenneth Gainwell on your waiver if you have space on your bench. He's not the main running back I would add. And actually, the main running back I would consider adding right now based on Saturn squaring Taurus is James Conner's backup. Darrel Williams, okay, who I believe is also an Aries, right? Jupiter's in Aries. We want these Aries. It's going to work really good with Cliff Kingsbury. Eno Benjamin's in Aries. He had a really high yards per carry. Of course, we always must consider that the second half, running backs tend to break out more in the second half as the defenses get a little bit more lazy. And so James Conner as a Taurus, he's already been injured. He's questionable still. I think he's going to be a game time decision. Darrel Williams, I think, is almost a must add at this point. Jerick McKinnon as a Taurus has an injury history. This is what we have here, guys. Maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire, based on his alignments, right? If we go back and we look at the charts, Gemini is there. We'll see Gemini. Mars is in Gemini. And Clyde Edwards has already been having a really good year. Okay, so maybe we take advantage of all these people wanting to sell high, knowing that Jerick McKinnon is going to be squaring with Saturn pretty much all year, according to my knowledge. I could be incorrect about that, but I'm pretty sure Taurus is going to be squaring Saturn this whole year. And so wow, maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire with Mars and Gemini is going to be a continued breakout player. Interesting to consider. Moving on, Jerry Jeudy. Okay, he's already hurt. He's already out. We kind of know the issue with Jerry Jeudy. Cortland Sutton should be favored anyway. If somehow we can figure out when and how to sell Jerry Jeudy, I would say maybe do that, okay? To all the people who I recommended Jerry Jeudy in the beginning of the year, sorry guys, there was a lot of different factors that I didn't quite understand yet. Now I'm seeing this. I would recommend selling Jerry Jeudy. Austin Eckler, okay, another Taurus with an injury history. Does this mean we pick up Joshua Kelly as a nice stash, nice bench stash? It could be. I'm more interested in Darrel Williams, but you can't get your hands on him. Joshua Kelly is probably my second most easy to get target off of the waivers, or not even off the waivers, right? Just in your free agency. Pick up Joshua Kelly, add him to your bench, and then we'll see what happens. Khalil Herbert. I've been recommending Khalil Herbert to get your hands on him just because David Montgomery has never really been that efficient of a runner. But with this situation going on, I'm kind of wondering, okay? David Montgomery, once again, Gemini is in... Gemini and Mars are aligned right now. So... gosh, David Montgomery could continue if he's still getting all of this usage and he's actually being productive with it against, Green Bay's defense. Interesting. Can we get something out of Khalil Herbert? Maybe make a move for David Montgomery. I know it sounds a little crazy. It's definitely crazy to me. But if you can get him for cheap, that's what I'm talking about here, okay? Michael Carter. Now, this is probably, I want to put a nice punctuation on this video by try to get your hands on Breece Hall, okay? He's probably not going to have maybe a huge week against the Bengals this week. Pretty good defense there. But, man, for the future, I think Breece Hall could be one of these league-winning running backs. I'm trying to flip the Cam Akers owner. I have Darrell Henderson. I'm trying to give him Henderson for Breece Hall. We'll see if he goes for it. If he doesn't, I'll sweeten the pot, perhaps. But I really think Breece Hall as a Gemini, once again, with Mars aligning in Gemini, could be an absolute smash, okay? With Michael Carter, who knows what's going to happen with Saturn squaring Taurus. But Breece Hall, he's a rookie. He's already looked the part, guys. He's the bigger guy. They probably want to use him more to really play a bit more smash mouth, a little bit more intimidation bully ball over there in New York as the year goes. So that's what I have for you guys. Just a little strategy, a preview for this Sunday. And we'll see what all this really means. I don't know. I'm still learning all of what these planets could mean. We're always drawing up theories and putting them to the test, putting them to the rigors. Appreciate you guys tuning in and watching, and have an awesome Sunday.